What up, world? It's your girl Sade with Sade Speaks, and I'm back at it for another episode. I hope you guys had a great worship today. I know everybody's getting prepared for the Super Bowl, so I'm going to be short and brief. So, this past week, most of the time I get on here and talk to you guys and kind of just like be running my mouth is really the things that I encounter and the things I pretty much deal with on my walk. Either I'm dealing with it or I see someone else go through it. So that's where most of my content come from. Um, so I know today's title is saying it's giving, that's a little slang that we say, it's giving self-righteous. This week I encountered individuals who had a real self-righteous attitude. And what I mean by self-righteous is more so like a prideful attitude. Um, these type of people always say the word and I did this and I did that and I did this and I have this and my title is this. And a lot of times we can become self-righteous when we get elevated, when God elevates us, or we get when we get a certain title. At times, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but at times, some people allow that to go to their head, and then this arrogance comes about them. And then, if you're not careful, that arrogance will turn into like this self-righteous attitude. You begin to put yourself on a pedestal and toot your nose towards other people. Um, and I encountered people like that this past week. I remember when I used to be having such righteous attitude when I thought like, so okay, I've always believed in God, but I didn't always follow him, if that makes sense. I went to church every Sunday, but I wasn't living a life of God. So, according to the word, I was an enemy of Christ because, yeah, I was going to church every Sunday, but I wasn't doing nothing God asked me to do. And I remember I come across people who did things that in my eyesight were worse than mine. But truth of the matter is sin. And I'll have this self-righteous attitude because I'd be like, well, I go to church and I don't do this and I don't do that. But you do this and you do that. So it's like, regardless of how you justify yourself or where you put yourself at, you still wrong. I remember being like that. I remember having that attitude and looking down on people because I went to church and they didn't, even though my lifestyle matched theirs. It's such an ugly character trait in a sense. It's like it's ugly. It's not attractive to have that type of mindset because we're all in this world trying to make it. So I encountered people like that this past week. I love how the Lord, allows you to see what you used to look like and what he delivered you from. I love that. But I was able to encounter I was encountering people like that last week and it made me frustrated. Um I was frustrated because I picked up on it and I really didn't know how to address it, but I was a little aggravated by it. And I didn't really know how to address it. And I really allowed it to steal my joy because Wednesday, mainly Wednesday, and I know the devil was busy. I didn't even want to go to Bible study. Like, I didn't want to be around God's people. I didn't want to be around nobody because I was just so annoyed throughout my day of the things I had encountered. And some of the people I encountered, yes, I work with them, but they're also of the faith, you know? And I had to remember that we're all on different levels of spiritual growth and spiritual maturity. But Wednesday, I wasn't feeling like that. Wednesday, I was ranting, snapping, so frustrated, like, Lord, I got to deal with these people, la da da. And the Spirit humbled me. The Spirit reminded me of how Jesus dealt with people like this. The Pharisees was this type of people who had this self-righteous attitude. And because Jesus didn't look a certain way, they discounted him. Because his truth was so powerful and it drew people to him, they became jealous of him. And then they began to set plots and say things to make him fall in traps to do what they thought that he would do. Because that was their carnal mind. That's how they viewed it. They didn't respect and see that he was the real Messiah because he didn't look the way they thought he would look. But what I learned from that was even though they treated Christ that way, even though the Pharisees challenged him, even though they tried to set him in traps, even though they plotted to kill him, it did not change how God treated them. It didn't change God, should I say. It didn't change Jesus. And I know people say, well, of course it did because he was Jesus, but he was in the flesh, meaning he felt what we felt. You know what I'm saying? Like he felt the things that we deal with on a regular. Um, and he still didn't handle them that way. He still used the opportunity to show them truth, to teach them truth, and still be himself. He didn't allow their behaviors to change who he was because he knew who he belonged to and who he was. And that was a gut check for me last week. The gut check was for me to remember whose I belong to and who I am. And regardless of how people may come at me, regardless of how prideful their attitude can be or how self righteous their attitude can be, it still shouldn't stop me from being who I am. It shouldn't change who I am. It should not change my character. But what it should do is allow me to use the opportunity to show truth, show God's love, show his mercy. That's how you teach, through your action. So I could have taught truth instead of allowing it to frustrate me. So I wanted to encourage you guys, when you come across people like that, you got people who be like, well, I went to Bible study and I went to church and I'm on this ministry and I'm on that ministry and I do this. Yeah, but what's your heart like? Just because you are involved don't mean you have a heart for God, because people who are involved also could be the same people who sit back, criticize, and ridicule because they feel like you don't fit the criteria of how you don't fit the criteria of what they think a Christian is, or what they think a Christian should look like, or what they think a Christian should do. And we've all been guilty of that. I'm gonna speak my truth. I know I have. I can only speak for me. And I just want us to, I want to encourage us to, even though we may come across people like that in life, don't allow it to change your character. Don't allow it um don't allow it to stop you from doing what God wants you to do. Because I'm saying people gonna come seeking that truth. Like Nicodemus, yeah, he was with the Pharisees, yeah, he had that self-righteous attitude. Yeah, he was prideful. But when he heard the truth, when he saw the truth, he snuck in private to go have a conversation with Jesus, because he was afraid of that same ridiculing and afraid of that same criticism, because he knew truth when he seen it. Because Jesus did not alter his character, because he did not change who he was, people were able to still see God's truth through him. I encourage you to do the same. This encouraged me last week. This was Wednesday. Thursday, I had a better attitude because the spirit hit me and let me know, like, listen, no, we're not going to handle it like this. You remember who you belong to. Remember whose you belong to. Remember who you are. Remember your identity in him, and move accordingly. Your job is to teach, whether it's verbally or by action. And action, honestly, is the best way to teach, because people see that you are actually walking what you're talking. So I say again, I encourage you guys, when you encounter people like this, don't allow it to frustrate you like it had me last week. It had me to the point where I was ready to be real ignorant, and it wouldn't hurt nobody but me, no one else but me. I thank God that His Spirit convicted me and retaught me how to deal with people like that, because everybody is not going to be on your level. Everybody is not walking the walk that you are. Everybody's dealing with stuff a different way. So when they come off as this, I don't want to hear nothing from you because I got it, I made it. Like, look at you, la da da. You know, don't get frustrated. Allow your actions to teach. Don't allow that to stop you from doing the right thing, which is the will of God, which is continue to display the fruits of the Spirit. I hope this bless you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I really hope it bless you how it blessed me. I love you guys. Thank you so much for continuing to support me. Have a great Sunday. Have a great Super Bowl Sunday and a great week. I am out.